And let's bring in Kamran Bokhari. He is the Director of Analytical Development at the Newsline Institute for Strategy and Policy, and he is in Washington. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's start with this news from Washington that the U.S. will use commercial planes to help with the situation in Afghanistan. How big of an impact do you think this is going to have on the evacuations?
I think it'll help because, look, there's only so much that the Pentagon's Transportation Command can do. And those flights that are basically undertaken by the military are to ferry people from the country, particularly Kabul, and then take them to other countries, third countries, or sort of, waiting areas from where they can then be relocated to their final destinations. And that second leg of the journey is being contracted to commercial airlines.
All right, well, Biden plans to discuss Afghanistan with the G7 leaders. How might these other nations be able to help in this situation?
Well, I mean, this is the perennial question, is everybody relies on the United States to do the heavy lifting. And this has been sort of a political debate and dispute within the United States as to how, how much should the United States be willing to shoulder that large burden. So now that the U.S. is out, it's all the more reason for our partners and allies around the world to essentially pitch in. And I think that's going to be the conversation that the president is going to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And the U.S. and Canada have been helping get people evacuated, but we're still seeing a lot of chaos at the airport in Kabul. Today, there were reported 7 deaths. So what do you foresee in the coming days? Do you think they're going to see more of the same, or will this start to calm down at the airport?
It's difficult to tell because here's the problem, that initially people didn't think that they were going to get out. And the perception was that they've been left abandoned. But now that there's been many, many flights that the U.S. military has conducted to ferry people out of the country, there are going to be a lot more people who are now emboldened to say, hey, maybe this is not so bad. Maybe this is our ticket out of the country. And so maybe there's going to be an increase in the number of people wanting to avail of that opportunity. And that could really, add to more chaos than what we've been seeing.
And Biden has said that, what we're seeing in Kabul was inevitable, especially with the withdrawal. Do you think there was a better way for them to do this?
Well, I mean, there was a better way for the Biden administration to, conduct the withdrawal, absolutely. But at the same time, there's a lot of blame to go around. And I think the die was cast way back in the days of the Bush administration when they began the process of nation building and didn't give it the attention that it needed and spent a great deal of money that got lost and produced very little results. So I think that, yes, we could have done this 100 times better, but we didn't do it. And that's the unfortunate glaring aspect of this entire 20-year mission.
Yeah, and Kamran, I want to expand on that a little bit more because it's very interesting that you say that, because all of the shows, especially the ones that were on this morning, have been heavily criticizing the Biden administration and how they're not doing this well. They haven't handled this well. This is all their fault. But no one is really bringing up the Bush administration, who started this 20 years ago. Why is that?
I mean, it's partisanship. I mean, a lot of people who go on TV are less of analysts, and, with my full due respect to them, and more looking at the situation through their usual partisan lenses. So there's that aspect. And then, of course, the quality of conversation needs to improve. I mean, we need to get more nuanced, more sophisticated, and we have a tendency to look at the moment and look at the person in the White House and his administration and say, oh, it's all your fault, when in fact, what is happening now is a process that was set into motions over the last 2 decades. Every administration, including President Biden's former administration under President Obama, when he was VP, contributed to this problem. And then, of course, the biggest problem was when the Trump administration to decide to fast track the deal with the Taliban. And I wrote at the time that, look, this is pointless and this is not going to end well.
But still, no one seemed to listen. It's very interesting. I just wanted to ask you that question. But thank you so much for your insight. Once again, that is Kamran Bokhari, the Director of Analytical Development at the Newsline Institute for Strategy and Policy. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you.